If you're an iRacing rookie planning your next step on single-seaters, then this is the video for you. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Limit of Adhesion. My name is Gareth, the lead commentator for the LOA. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the 3 D-licensed class single-seaters available on the service and helping you pick the right one for you. Without further ado then, let's hop into the Skip Barber. Pulling out of the pit lane then in the venerable Skip Barber. No pit lane limiter on this car, unlike the USF2000 and the Formula Renault, so you need to make sure you keep an eye on your speed as you pull out on your own. So this car, a tubular space frame chassis weighing 566 kilograms with a Chrysler inspired 2-litre engine producing 150 brake horsepower and a 5-speed sequential gearbox. So this car is the heaviest of the 3 contenders and also the least powerful. But don't think that that means it's the least fun, because this car is possibly one of the most fun cars that I've ever driven on iRacing. Now you can tell as you look at the front tyres there that this is on radial tyres, so it's got grooved tyres, unlike the other two which are racing on full slicks. And these tyres are quite tricky when it's running on cold tyres. You can see I'm taking it quite easy through some of the corners. The skippy can be quite unpredictable on the first few laps out of the pits, so you need to be a little bit careful with it and just sort of take it easy. And that does mean that the start of the races are quite risky, because not only are you trying to keep your car pointing in the right direction, but you've also got to be really aware of the other cars around you, and in case someone is driving beyond their means in these first few laps and causes an accident and wipes you out. All D-licensed races obviously come with one quick repair, but you really don't want to be losing lots of time by getting towed to the pits and getting that repair. As we see, outbraking myself a little bit through Druids, as just the front grip not quite there yet on this first lap out of the pit lane. We'll wait until we get to that third lap to see how we get on the hot lap itself. So as we take a look at the calendar for the Skip Barber in the season just gone then, they started at Summit Point and then went to the Cup Historic layout at Sonoma, and then the full Suzuka layout, Hockenheim Short A layout, Road Atlanta Short, Scuba 2000, the Red Bull Ring, the short layout at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, Snetterton 300, which is the full Snetterton layout, Imola, the Nürburgring, and finishing the season at Long Beach. So a nice mix there between short layouts and long layouts. The season is chosen by there's a lot of community involvement, so there's a really good Skip Barber community on the iRacing service, as there are for many of the other cars as well. But I know that the Skips and with the Formula Renault, they try to pick a lot of the more popular tracks each season, but then they also try and put in a blend of tracks that they haven't been to for 2 or 3 seasons, and also maybe a couple of tracks which are considered a bit unpopular. For example, Snetterton, which is a track that I actually personally really like, but it doesn't seem to get the love from a lot of drivers on iRacing, unfortunately. So but yeah, if you ever get the chance to go and buy that track and start racing on it, I heartily recommend it. Here we are coming up to the water tower then, so this is our second lap out of the pits, where you start to feel like the car is starting to behave itself a little bit more and starting to become slightly more predictable. I tend to wait until at least the second or probably third or fourth lap even before I really start to trust the car in the really high speed corners. So here that would be Cascades and the island bend just before the Shallows hairpin. But we're going to cut ahead in time then to a hot lap, and here we go then, up over Deer Leap and charging along the start finish straight to turn 1. You're looking for those advertising hoardings on the left hand side, there they are, braking down to 3rd gear, picking up the curb on the inside, and on the power then 4th gear as we drop down the hill through Denton's to Cascades. This is such a quick corner. Look, you're still in 4th gear and just trying to get on the power the moment the curve changes. Now down here I tend to go up into 5th gear, but I can tell you that David Lyon, our Season 2 Skip Barber champion in limited adhesion, he never actually used 5th gear all the way through the championship. Look at that big slide as we come through there. So even on the warm tyres the car is braking away, but it does it in a very predictable manner. But as I say, yeah, 5th gear, quite a matter of personal choice it seems in the Skippy. Here we come through the Britain chicane, I beg your pardon, so you can really aim for those tyre stacks as you come through there, and it's very satisfying to do in the Skip Barber. Coming along Hilltop now to the Hislop chicane, so a nice braking phase through here, and trying to get that rotation. You can hear the tyres, big snap of oversteer as you come through there, trying to unsettle the car through Knickerbrook as well. So as you can see, that on the limit you're really sliding with the Skip Barber. You're trying to get the nose into the corner early and then complete the corner using the throttle pedal, as opposed to with the other cars where you're using the brake and trail braking and engine braking to do the corner and then accelerate smoothly on the way out. Here's the final corner then, and just a drop down and then up over Deer Leap to complete the lap. And that's the Skip Barber, and now we are going to go and get into the Formula Renault 2.0. So coming out the pit lane in the Formula Renault 2.0, the second oldest of these 3 cars on the service, launched all the way back in 2016, and this is a fully carbon fibre monocoque chassis with a 2-litre 4-cylinder engine, 210 brake horsepower from this one, and the dry weight of the car is 506 kilos, so a lot lighter than the Skip Barber that we just were on board with. 7-speed gearbox, as you can see there, just before we dropped into the Shell oils hairpin. And this is a proper baby car. Talking to Dino Beganovic, the Ferrari Junior, he was saying to me this is very similar to the Formula 4 car he was campaigning last year in 2020. He's now in the Formula Regional European Championship, which is kind of the successor to the Ferrari, the Formula Renault 2.0 series. It's an amalgamation between the Regional F3 Championship and the Formula Renault Championship. And the final ever Formula Renault 2.0 champion, Victor Martins, did say that this car, the real car, does suffer from massive understeer, which you do get in the iRacing car as well. And if you watch our 6 tips on how to go quick in the Formula Renault 2.0 video on our channel, you'll be able to see how to combat that. One of the big tips is lifting off the throttle fully on mid-speed corners to get that rotation, because you can get the nose down. But this car is a really good introduction to higher speed Formula cars. It's a proper baby Formula car. Unlike the Skip Barber, where you're kind of sliding it into the apexes and things like that, this car, you need to treat it with respect and drive it properly. Lots of trail braking into the corners, using your engine braking to achieve good rotation. All of these sort of things are very important when you're driving this car. As you can see, we're still attacking the Britain chicane, just like with the Skip Barber, maximum aiming the wheels at those tyre barriers. But you do have to remember you've got a front wing in front of those front wheels, so you need to be careful that you're not wiping that off as you go through the corner. As a D licence series, you get one quick repair, same as with the Skip Barber and the USF2000. Obviously, you do want to be avoiding that in your races. Taking a look at the calendar just gone then, this car was racing at Hockenheim in week 1, followed by Laguna Seca, Imola, Interlagos, Alton Park, where we are now, but the International with no Britain chicane layout. Then Spa, Mid-Ohio, Suzuka, Long Beach, Mount Panorama, Silverstone, and finishing the season in Road Atlanta. Here we are on a hot lap then. Coming into turn 1, just trying to pick up the throttle once you've got that rotation on the apex, and then dropping down through Dentons and into Cascades. This is a really good corner with this car. You're aiming to get on the throttle so early, and look at that, all the way through in 5th gear there, so it's such a fast corner. Heading down to Island Bend. Just a little confidence lift as we went through there, and then down to the Shallows hairpin. 3rd gear, you can see that we're really using the 7-speed gearbox of this car on this lap. And I'm by no means one of the quick guys from the limits of adhesion, but this is this car really helped teach me about trail braking and just how to be smooth with a car in comparison to hooning around in a skip Barber. I'd say if you master this car, you're going to really be good when you start driving the Dallara F3 in C-Class and the other cars when you go above, like the Formula Renault 3.5 and the F1 cars waiting for you above these levels. This car is a really good introduction to single-seaters on iRacing. Just coming out 1 corner to go to complete this lap then. It's a tricky off-camber corner as that final corner, as you see me correcting a bit of oversteer on the exit. And that's a hot lap with the Formula Renault, and now time for the USF2000. So the road to Indy starts here with the USF2000, launched on iRacing back in June 2020, so quite a new car to the service, along with its big brother, the PM18. It's essentially the same car, I believe, but with a much more powerful engine. But let's talk about this version then. It's again a 2-litre engine, so all 3 of these cars, it was a bit of a slide on cold tyres there through Cascades. All 3 of these cars then are 2-litre engines, but this one producing 175 brake horsepower, so in between the Formula Renault and the Skip Barber, but a fully carbon composite cockpit, chassis, as you can see, so just like the Formula Renault, and a dry weight of 500 kilos, so this is the lightest of the 3 cars, but marginal between them all. 6-speed sequential gearbox, the engine electronics designed by Cosworth, as you can see on the wheel there, although it's actually a Mazda engine. Big lockup as we come down to Hislops there on this opening lap out of the pits. Now the important thing about this car is that it is designed as the start of your IndyCar campaigning, so the calendar is slightly different to what you see on the other cars. You've got to start with Scuba 2000, then Charlotte Oval, then New Hampshire Motor Speedway, but the road course with South Oval, which is you don't see that on any of the other sort of calendars like the Skip Barber or the Formula Renault. And then they went going to Lime Rock, the Grand Prix layout, Oran Park South, that's a tiny layout to be racing in a single-seater car. Then New Hampshire Oval, Hockenheim National B, Alton Park Island Historic, Spa, which is the full circuit, Red Bull National Circuit, Long Beach, and ending at Laguna Seca. So the thing I pick up most from that is that this car doesn't race on that many full layouts. You tend to be the shorter, more sort of club and national level layouts, which are quite fun for every once and again, but I could see that being quite frustrating if you were racing this car for more than a single season. The other interesting thing about this car is the race format, which is completely different to the Skip Barber and the Formula Renault. So with all of these cars, you join for a 3-minute practice, and then you have the usual 8 minutes of qualifying where you do 2 laps on your own on a closed course, so no one to get in your way while you're qualifying the car. But then this car races for a 15-minute timed race and starts from a rolling start, so you will do a lap behind the safety car before you actually get your race underway, and then it will be a 15-minute race, whereas the other 2 do a lap race, so it's a distance race as opposed to a time race. So there is that difference there. The other big difference with this car is it's a fixed setup car when you are racing it in the D-Class series, whereas the other 2 cars have setups. Now admittedly the Skip Barber doesn't have a huge amount of setup options, as I've mentioned, literally just I think 3 things you can change on the car, whereas the Formula Renault has a decent number of options to adjust. But this, you'll just get in the car and the only thing you can change is the brake balance. So if you're not getting on with the setup, then you're kind of stuck with it. I find this car a little, I mean, I haven't done a lot of racing with this car. I do enjoy driving it, but I tend to find that I'm struggling with the fronts as I go through the 15-minute race. Presumably something to do with my driving style, but I just feel like I run out of front tyres towards the end of the race. So I need to put more work into understanding this car. But I would say that out of the three, that kind of makes me less favourable towards it, as well as the fact that it's a fixed set. I mean, fixed setup is good in a way because it's, you know, if you're a rookie, you're going to be used to fixed setup racing coming from the Formula V and the Mazda MX-5 or Miata for our international audience. However, if you want to progress and start understanding about setups, it's quite good to go to a car like the Formula Renault where there are full setup options available, and there are plenty of people offering paid setups and free setups. So you can buy a setup or you can download a free one, and then you can start learning about what changes you make and how they affect the car. This isn't necessarily a slower car than the Formula Renault. Funnily enough, I was slower around here than I was in the Formula Renault, but at Oran Park, for example, it's a bit quicker. So that was a 137.026. Now we're going for a final flying lap. Let's see what we can do on this one. So as I say, yeah, Battle of the Little Wings, one of the fun Week 13 races where the USF2000 and the Formula Renault were both competing at Oran Park. It was the USF2000 which was the marginally quicker car, and the choice to have at Oran Park. Whereas at another track like, for example, Alton Park, where we are right now, I'd say that the Formula Renault probably the more preferable car to have. But not a lot in it, and I'm sure that someone with a bit more skill than me could probably get this car around at an equal pace, or maybe probably a lot faster than I can in the Formula Renault. But you can see as I'm driving around here, it is a classic baby Formula car. It's a lot of fun to drive. Always you've got to put the work in to understand the car, and if I did that, I'm sure I could get on top of these tyre issues that I've mentioned having in the past. Just a few corners to go then on this lap, and we'll have a little summary of the pros and cons of each as I see them. I do like the noise on this car. Nice little buzzy, angry engine going on behind me. So here we go through the final corner and up to cross the line. That's a 135.733. So those are the 3 D-licensed single-seaters available on iRacing. Let's take a quick look at the pros and cons of each one, starting with the Skip Barber then. This car has packed fields any time of day. It seems like it's a very, very popular car, and you're sure to get a field of people with a similar level of skill to yourself, whatever time of day. Also, there's a great track rotation system, as we mentioned in the video, so you should be able to buy the popular tracks. They will still happen in the Skip Barber series, but there's also that rotation system, so there will be tracks that you might think, oh, I quite fancy racing on that, and that will be available for a couple of seasons, so they are worth the investment. Also, this car is very easy to catch slides, and when you talk about the setup, there are only about 3 parameters that you can change on this car, so it's quite easy to learn about those parameters and get your understanding of those setup changes up to speed as you work with the car. But on the flip side, because there's so few changes, it's very hard to adapt the car to really suit your driving needs. Okay, you can't change the wing levels, for example, on this car. You can only change sort of the ride height and some differential settings and things, so you won't be able to tailor the car that much to what you really need to do with the car. It's sort of like, this is what you can have. Also, as we mentioned in the video, it's very tricky on cold tyres, so the start of the races in the Skip Barber, especially at the lower I ratings, can be really chaotic and quite risky. You're going to get people who maybe overdrive the car and have a lose control and crash into you, so you've got to keep your wits about you at the start of those races. And in my opinion, there's very minimal crossover between the Skip Barber and a proper Formula car. There is some, but not enough to really warrant going into this car. If you're looking to progress through the Formula cars, I don't think this is the one for you. I'm not saying it's not a great car and a lot of fun, I absolutely love it, but for a Formula career, this isn't the car. Moving on to the Formula Renault though, this is the one. This is the start of your Formula career, in my opinion. It's going to teach you the foundations of Formula car driving. You're going to learn a lot driving it, and it's very rewarding to drive once you learn the skills involved. Do take a look at our 6 tips video. As I mentioned before, you'll learn a lot from that video alone. It's fully optimizable to suit your style, and you can optimize the car to suit the track. There's so much customization with the setups. You can get paid setup or you can get free setup depending on what you want to do. Or you could start with one of the iRacing base setups and start tweaking each individual parameter one at a time and learn what they do and how it impacts the car. Also, there's a great track rotation system very similar to the Skip Barber, so it's another plus point in my opinion for the Formula Renault. But on the flip side, the grid sizes are a lot smaller with the Formula Renault. It's not as popular as the Skip Barber, unfortunately, and you are going to end up probably in a mixed ability field quite often, with the pluses and minuses associated with that. You could be racing against people who are almost alien level compared to you, who are going to disappear off into the distance, but you could also be racing against people who are a bit more crash prone than yourself, so you need to be aware of those sort of pluses and minuses, because there's normally only 2 or 3 splits for the Formula Renault. And also it's tougher to catch spins with this car, so when you're on the limit, you need to sort of find your limit, and in a race situation especially, dial it back a couple of notches to make sure you get to the end safely with as few incident points as possible. And then moving on to the USF2000. It's a really fun car. I really like to drive it. I'm not great at it, but it's fun to drive, and with that quick 15-minute race, so the total session investment time, you're talking about half an hour. So providing you've practiced and you know the track and how to drive the car at the track, it's quite easy to jump in and have a quick race session. But on the flip side, I do struggle to understand the point of this car. As I mentioned, the PM18 is basically a higher powered version of the USF2000, but that car has all of the setup options. It has the Road to Indy formula where you're racing on ovals and road tracks, and you're going to be racing on longer layouts as well. So in my opinion, I think the Formula Renault does a better job as a D-licensed single-seater than the USF2000. It's a fun car if you want to drive it, and you know, if you want to be completist, go and buy that one, buy the Skip Barber, buy the Formula Renault as well, race all 3. But if you just want to concentrate on a single-seater career, but you want to do the Indy car route, I still think you should try the Formula Renault 2.0, then go to the PM18 at C license level. I think that's going to suit you a lot better. But whichever car you pick, I can say you're going to have a lot of fun. They are all brilliant cars to drive. I just think, personally, the Formula car of choice is the Formula Renault. If you just want a car to hoon around in and have great fun racing, go get the Skip Barber. But you could also try the USF2000, especially if you just want a quick race and you just want to dive in and get on track and have a good time racing. USF2000 is a great option as well. Anyway, I hope you found this video useful, and indeed enjoyable. If you did, please do give it a like and consider subscribing to our channel. We've got a lot of very interesting content coming up very shortly on the channel, which is going to be a lot of fun to watch, as well as our regular hot lap and race video content as well. As a reminder, you can find us at limitofadhesion.com, facebook.com/limitofadhesion. You can tweet us at limitadhesion, or come say hi on our Discord. That's it for this one though. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.